Hello, we're Adam and Brienne. Today we'll talk about autism. Bit of a different subject on our
Mm-hmm.
what is it channel?
On our channel.
Something I can remember where we're at. Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
So we have a son. He is 19 and a half, and he has autism. So my experience with autism is almost 20 years. I'm not a medical professional. Just gonna put out the disclaimer. I'm just speaking from my experience and what I know, with Adrian and with people I know that have autism,
Mm-hmm.
and other people, kids that I know that have autism, and yeah. So I just want to also say everyone with autism is different, so it's not going to be just this is it when we're going through what it is and stuff like that, and we're not going to be covering all areas. And this is first video will be more like what is autism and some of the things that may show, when there is autism involved, and then I think in the other videos will be more personal about the experience.
Yeah.
So just to take something out of a little bit of a professional website, National Institute of Mental Health.gov, so American website for that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So they describe autism as a neurological and developmental disorder that affects how people interact with others, communicate, learn, and behave. And it's described as a developmental disorder because generally it starts, or the symptoms start showing before the age of 2. But of course, there's many people that are not diagnosed before they're, you know, in their, adult years, right?
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of differences there, and when things are caught and being followed up with. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so it's a spectrum condition because there's such a variation in the severity of symptoms and um, and the type, basically. So basically a full spectrum of things. So it's not like I'm this autistic, or it's basically just all the ranges of like behavior and these things, right? So very different.
Yeah.
Yeah. So some of the things, they may have issues with eye contact. They may have issues in conversation. Oftentimes, maybe in back and forth conversation. Some may only talk to the people they're close to. Some people may talk to everyone, but it may be more about their interests. So some they talk a whole bunch, but it's maybe just on the specific thing, right? Adrian very interested in Thomas the Tank Engine and whatnot. He can talk about that all day.
Get along, gang.
Get along, gang. That's
Mm-hmm.
kind of a new thing, right? So it's kind of like some of them don't have issues with speaking. It's just like it's very one-sided, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Um. So yeah, many have issues maybe with the reading social cues and body language of other people. And some people may learn this, like, oh, I see this person's behaving like this, so that means it's like that. Okay, so I'll adjust like this, right? So many of the behaviors can be like learned through experiences or being taught very like, this we do this at this time, and
Yeah.
yeah. One thing is that they may take things very literally. So making jokes like what would be like some kind of
Yeah, like you're barking up the wrong tree, or that's a piece of cake.
yeah. Sometimes people with autism would be like, "What do you mean? Where's
What
the
is
cake?
that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
like what is this?"
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so this is something we learned in our household. It's like yeah,
Yeah,
if
because
you
like, because I know a lot of I don't know, yeah, like you're barking up the wrong tree. I know a lot of different slogans, I guess is what you call like that, and so sometimes I'll be connecting with Adrian and I'll just say one and he'll be like, "Wait, what do you mean by that?" Like it's very serious, and I'm
yeah,
like, "Okay, I see." Like he takes that very literal, and so I just explain it in a different way, a way that is factual and logical,
mm-hmm.
and then he gets it then.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. So that may be something you can get a reaction, maybe using um, language like that. Yeah. Yeah, and so many may have issues seeing other people's perspective because it's very much like, well, I have this focus right now, so this is my focus, and like I cannot see what you mean, or I'm all here, right?
Mhm.
So yeah, rigidity, that may be a thing because it's kind of like doing the same thing over and over again, and it can change. Like Adrian, for instance, he's changed quite a lot here, over the years. But when he was a kid, very, hard to change up things, changing of seasons, having to wear something different, right? Oh, now we move into this. Yeah, kind of a bit of an issue.
Very
Yeah.
repetitious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Repetitive behavior,
Mhm.
maybe saying like words,
Yep.
right? Like over and over again, or um as kids, right, driving like the truck or the train, like just back and forth,
Mhm.
yeah, stuff like that. And
Yeah, he gets, like, caught on words that he really likes the sound of,
mm,
like, here recently, I've been hearing him say, "However," or, just words like that really he really, like,
yeah,
catches on to those and
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, very normal. Yeah, and many may have a hard time with change, like we kind of like touched on as well with the repetitive behavior and these things as well. So kind of like just something to look out for there. But it's just like with an explanation and some, yeah, like you said, facts and
Mhm.
logic as well. And people learn in different ways as well, and people need different kinds of supports during change, and we all do basically, right? So it's kind of just being seeing how the different people need the different kinds of support and changes, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, sensory processing is also a thing
Mm.
here.
Mhm.
Many may be very affected by noises, impulses, things like that. So something I've been recommending to people that is maybe try out some noise canceling headphones. I think they have those little buds too. You can like, I'm not sure if they do exactly the same, but yeah, something to try out because it's just, it's easy to shut down in those places when there's a lot of like input and like people would be talking and there's noises, and this may go for highly sensitive people too, right? Because I
Mm.
can recognize that if there's a lot of noise and like people are talking, I'm just like cannot deal, right? So it's just like filtering out some of that, and because it leaks a lot of energy basically,
Mhm.
right? So it's kind of like being a bit mindful of those things that do that to you with processing, right? And some people they don't may not like physical touch, right? And some people they may do like it. So it's very different there too. But yeah, so there may be issues regulating emotional responses, not understanding their emotions. So from and this kind of like goes into the changes part and all that. If there's it can seem like a very little thing, but there can be a shutdown basically. It can be a very simple thing, and then it just goes
Mhm.
blank, and then it's a lot of big emotions.
Mhm.
Um, and meltdowns come into that, shutting down. Yeah, so that's kind of like something to be on the lookout for with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think this is kind of like something probably many adults with autism maybe you know they've been through some experiences probably as children, and
Mhm.
they've learned to know themselves better. Some may need some assistance with that too, but yeah, issues regulating emotional responses. Good. Yeah, different ways of learning. We all got that though. So
Yeah.
it's just like seeing what's the best way. Some people may like the visual way of learning things through pictures or social stories, I think it's called, and
Mhm.
just yeah,
Or hands-on.
yeah,
Mhm.
very much so.
Yeah.
So it's just figuring out what is the best way for a person with autism.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, I think we touched on this as well. They often learn like strategies to support their challenges, and oftentimes there's a lot of learned behavior kind of like we touched upon, it's like, okay, this is what we do here. So it may not come from the inside from themselves, right? It's something just put on, masking, right? That's a lot of that.
Yeah.
So that's something probably to go deeper into at a later
Mhm.
time as well. Yeah. Yeah, there can be challenging with fitting in, wanting to do things what other people are doing, but it may feel a bit challenging. Um, um, yeah, what else do we have?
That's a lot.
That's a whole. I feel like that was just the information, like like a whole bunch, right? So
Mhm.
yeah, we may kind of like leave it as is on this first one. Yeah, I think it's just important to mention, like, not underestimate anyone's abilities,
Mhm.
even though there's autism involved.
Mhm.
And of course, for the person that has autism,
Yeah.
that there's, yeah, it's the same gifts, right? We have gifts, all of us, and it's important. Yeah.
Mhm.
Do you have anything else to add on this one?
Yeah, I just feel like this is a very good
Yeah.
introduction
Mm-hmm.
into more videos to come in this series. And I guess like in my experience, because I have never really been around those that, are on the spectrum until Adam and I come together.
Mm-hmm.
And so just in my personal experience in learning is what often works is just asking them, what do you need? How can I support you here? What is it that you need? And that often seems to open them up.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, okay, I can let you know what I need here. And then that's a great way to connect and to navigate the relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And as you said, the spectrum is so wide and so broad and different, where there's people that are highly functioning people in life, and may not even know that they have it, or it's easy to not even notice. Or there's others that are it's more noticeable,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so it's not like I guess too, like our healing
Yep.
as we've gone through, and healing on our spiritual journey. Adrian has also been changing
Mm-hmm.
along with us. Like he's very much opened up, versus as what you've shared, how he
Yep.
used to be very closed off.
Mm-hmm.
So there's been a massive change. And yeah.
Yeah, it's not something to be healed. I
Mm,
think Jeff spoke to it perfectly
yeah, Jeff and
recently.
Shalia.
Jeff and Shalia.
Hmm.
I guess I forget that we're on our channel now. So yeah, yeah, like it's to be embraced
Hmm.
basically, rather than something to heal. But I think there's just finding ways to have a better life, supporting, if you have autism yourself, or if you're, have a relationship with someone that had autism, or you work with them. So it's
Hmm.
just like, because when you have a supportive life, when you're supported, you can thrive, you can be harmonious, right? It
Yeah,
doesn't have to be very challenging and hard. Yeah.
definitely.
Good.
This feels good.
All right.
Hmm.
So we'll see you in the next video.
Thank you.